What you're about to witness will shatter everything you think you know about homelessness in America. This is the true story of William Bill Henderson, a man who died completely alone on the frozen streets of Chicago. But what police discovered just 48 hours later would send shockwaves through the entire city and expose a devastating truth about how we treat our heroes. I'm warning you right now, this story will make you angry. It will make you cry. And it will change how you see every homeless person for the rest of your life. December 15, 2023. 6:47 a.m. Chicago's Lower West Side. The temperature? Minus 12 degrees Fahrenheit. Officer Maria Rodriguez was beginning her morning patrol when she noticed something that would haunt her forever, a figure lying motionless behind a dumpster, covered in nothing but a thin, torn blanket and yesterday's newspaper. The man appeared to be in his 70s. Gray beard. Weathered hands. Combat boots that had seen better decades. Around his neck, a chain with military dog tags that were so worn, you could barely make out the name, Henderson, William J. Maria knelt down and checked for a pulse. Nothing. Bill Henderson had died alone, forgotten by the world he once served. Just another statistic in a city where 65,000 people experience homelessness every single year. But here's where this story takes a turn that will blow your mind. What Officer Rodriguez discovered next would expose one of the most heartbreaking cases of bureaucratic failure in American history and reveal a secret so massive that it would make headlines from coast to coast. To understand the shocking revelation that's coming, we need to go back. Way back. To 1968. Saigon, Vietnam. William Henderson was just 19 years old when he enlisted in the United States Army. A farm boy from Nebraska who believed in serving his country. His letters home described a young man full of hope, dreams, and an unshakable belief in doing what's right. Bill served 3 tours in Vietnam. He was a combat medic. Do you know what that means? While bullets were flying and bombs were exploding, Bill was running into danger to save lives. He pulled 23 wounded soldiers out of active combat zones. 23 human beings are alive today because of William Henderson. For his service, Bill received the Bronze Star, 2 Purple Hearts, and a combat medical badge. He was a hero in every sense of the word. But like so many veterans returning from Vietnam, Bill came home to a country that wasn't ready to welcome its warriors. No parades. No thank you. No support system. Just silence. The Bill Henderson who returned in 1971 was not the same bright-eyed farm boy who had left. He'd seen things. Done things. Lost friends. The nightmares came every night. What we now know as PTSD was just called being weak back then. Bill tried to make it work. He really did. He got married to Sarah, his high school sweetheart. Had 2 beautiful children, Michael and Jennifer. For a few years, it seemed like the American dream was still possible. But the demons of war don't just disappear because you want them to. The drinking started as a way to sleep. Then it became a way to forget. Then it became the only way Bill knew how to exist. By 1985, Sarah had taken the kids and left. She couldn't watch the man she loved destroy himself anymore. Bill lost his job at the factory. Then his house. Then everything. For the next 38 years, William Henderson lived on the streets. 38 years of cold nights, hungry days, and a society that looked right through him as if he didn't exist. But here's what no one knew, not his family, not the social workers, not even Bill himself. 3 days after Officer Rodriguez found Bill's body, Detective James Murphy was assigned to handle his affairs. Standard procedure for homeless individuals: check for next of kin, process belongings, arrange for burial in the city's potter's field. Bill's worldly possessions fit in 2 plastic bags. A torn jacket. Some newspapers. A broken radio. And those dog tags we mentioned earlier. Detective Murphy almost missed it. Hidden in the lining of Bill's jacket was a small, waterproof pouch. Inside that pouch was a folded piece of paper, yellowed with age. At the top, in faded blue ink, were the words that would change everything. Last will and testament of Harold Winston Henderson. Harold Winston Henderson, Bill's uncle. A man who had died childless 38 years earlier and left his entire fortune to his beloved nephew, William, the war hero of our family. Detective Murphy's hands were shaking as he read the document. The estate included 2,400 acres of prime Nebraska farmland, a portfolio of blue-chip stocks, 3 rental properties in Omaha, and over $847,000 in cash and certificates of deposit. Adjusted for inflation and investment growth over 38 years, William Henderson had been worth over $3.2 million, while sleeping in doorways and digging through garbage for food. But how? How does a multimillionaire end up dying homeless on the streets? The answer will make you furious at our entire system. Detective Murphy immediately began investigating. What he discovered was a cascading series of failures that spanned 4 decades of bureaucratic incompetence. In 1985, when Harold Henderson died, his lawyer attempted to locate Bill to inform him of the inheritance. The only address they had was Bill's last known residence, the house he'd lost to foreclosure 6 months earlier. The lawyer sent certified letters to that address for 2 years. All returned as undeliverable. According to state law, after reasonable attempts to locate the beneficiary, the estate was to be held in trust by the Nebraska State Treasury. Here's where it gets infuriating. The Nebraska State Treasury has a database of unclaimed property that's searchable online. Bill's inheritance was sitting there, growing interest, for 38 years. All he needed to do was search his own name. But here's the catch: how do you search an online database when you don't have internet access? How do you claim an inheritance when you don't have a permanent address? How do you navigate bureaucracy when you're fighting just to survive each day? Detective Murphy discovered that 3 different social service agencies had worked with Bill over the years. Not one of them ever ran a basic background check that would have revealed his military service and potential benefits. The VA had been trying to reach Bill since 1987 to inform him that he qualified for disability benefits, housing assistance, and medical care. But they were sending letters to that same old address that hadn't existed for decades. In 2018, a new social worker named Amanda Chen actually did discover Bill's military record. She submitted all the paperwork to get him into veteran housing and connect him with his benefits. The paperwork sat in an inbox for 5 years. No one followed up. No one checked. No one cared enough to make one phone call that could have saved a hero's life. By the time Detective Murphy pieced this together, Amanda Chen was in tears. "I thought I'd helped him," she sobbed. "I thought his case was being processed. I had no idea he was still on the streets." But the most heartbreaking discovery was yet to come. As Detective Murphy continued investigating, he made a discovery that would haunt him for the rest of his career. Bill's children, Michael and Jennifer, had been looking for their father for over 20 years. In 2003, Michael Henderson hired a private investigator to find his dad. He wanted to make amends. To help him. To bring him home. The private investigator searched databases, checked hospitals, contacted shelters. But Bill moved around so much, used different names sometimes, avoided authorities. The trail always went cold. Jennifer had become a nurse, inspired by her father's service as a combat medic. Every time she saw a homeless veteran in the hospital, she wondered, "Is that my dad? Is he out there somewhere, thinking we don't love him?" In 2020, during the COVID pandemic, both Michael and Jennifer joined volunteer groups that delivered food to homeless camps. They weren't just helping others, they were hoping, praying, that maybe they'd find him. Detective Murphy had to make the hardest phone call of his life. Michael answered on the second ring. "Mr. Henderson? This is Detective Murphy with the Chicago Police Department. I'm calling about your father, William Henderson. You found him? Is he okay? Please tell me he's okay." "Sir, I'm sorry. Your father passed away 3 days ago. But there are some things you need to know. When Michael and Jennifer learned about their father's wealth, money that could have housed him, fed him, given him medical care, they were inconsolable. "We could have saved him," Jennifer whispered through tears. "If we'd just known, we could have brought him home." But this story doesn't end with just heartbreak. What Bill's children decided to do next will restore your faith in humanity. Instead of keeping their father's inheritance, Michael and Jennifer Henderson established the William J. Henderson Foundation, dedicated to ensuring that no veteran dies homeless and alone ever again. They used their father's $3.2 million estate to create a revolutionary program. Every homeless veteran in Chicago now gets a dedicated caseworker who actively searches for unclaimed benefits, lost family members, and available resources. They hired Amanda Chen, the social worker who had tried to help Bill, as the foundation's director. Her first mission was to locate every piece of paperwork that had fallen through the cracks. In just 18 months, the Henderson Foundation has helped 847 homeless veterans. They've reunited 23 veterans with their families. They've secured over $4.7 million in back benefits that veterans never knew they qualified for. But perhaps most importantly, they've created Bill's List, a database that cross-references military records with social services, ensuring that every veteran's service history follows them wherever they go. Michael Henderson visits his father's grave every Sunday. The headstone reads, "William J. Henderson, combat medic, Vietnam veteran, loving father, American hero." "Dad never got to come home," Michael said at the foundation's first annual gala. "But maybe he can help other fathers come home to their families." The Henderson Foundation has been contacted by cities across America wanting to implement Bill's system. What started as one man's tragedy is becoming a nationwide movement to honor our veterans. As I researched this story, I couldn't stop thinking about one thing. How many more Bills are out there right now? How many heroes are sleeping in doorways while their benefits collect dust in government offices? How many families are searching for fathers, sons, daughters who are just one database search away from coming home? Bill Henderson served his country with honor. He saved 23 lives in Vietnam. But when he needed saving, our system failed him completely. If Bill's story has moved you, and I know it has, here's what you can do right now. First, go to missingveterans.org and search for any veterans in your family. It takes 30 seconds and could change a life. Second, the Henderson Foundation needs volunteers. The link is in our description. 1 hour of your time could help a hero come home. Third, share this video. Share Bill's story. Because somewhere out there, a family is looking for their father, and a father is wondering if anyone remembers his name. William J. Henderson died alone on December 15, 2023. But his story is just beginning. And maybe, just maybe, it will make sure no hero ever dies forgotten again.